right, guys. So, had a little issue that arose earlier, and let me take everyone back, way back in the day. So, if you go back like 20 years or so, there were a few of us dealing with Islam, and it was a sad, lonely world because, yeah, there were only a few of us dealing with it, and that allowed everyone to kind of focus on us for death threats and so on. But we kept working away at dealing with Islam and responding to Muslim objections and bringing out all this information that totally contradicted what Muslims were taught about Islam and Christianity and so on. And we kept this up for years. And I was saying for years, like eventually a new generation of Christians is going to come along and they're going to do it better than we could because the foundation will already be laid in apologetics and polemics, and they don't have to learn the technology like some of us old people had to learn back then. They'll be kind of raised in it. So predicted that they would do it better. And all of a sudden over the past 5 years or so, we get this new generation of Christians, and yep, they're crushing it. And they took over Speaker's Corner from the regular Dawa guys and so on, taking over on YouTube, taking over on TikTok and so on. So these are good times, and we want to keep the momentum going. Dawa has been in absolute panic mode for about the past 4 or 5 years. It gets worse every single year because Dawa is just based on lying to people and deceiving people. It only works in an atmosphere of ignorance. And once that ignorance starts going away and people start finding out how to respond to things, then Dawa doesn't work anymore. So Dawa's not working. They're in panic mode. They're dealing with the avalanche of apostasy. These guys do not want to engage anymore with people, and you find them actually like hiding in mosques to avoid talking to people like God Logic. Anyway, sort of the one of the premier figures in the new generation is God Logic. He'll have 5,000 or 6,000 people watching him live call-in shows with Muslims. And they're really panicking over God Logic. You saw it. Their Dawa champ, Muhammad Hijab. Avery went on there with him, completely crushed him. They had to like give out false copyright strikes and stuff like that for complete nonsense and so on. But basically, they're in complete panic mode. And we would like to keep it that way and actually make it get worse and worse and accelerate the avalanche of apostasy. But as we're going along, going out there, going up to Dawa booths and so on, you know the critics are going to come and try to derail things. And I just don't mean Muslims. I mean all kinds of people start seeing what's going on, and they decide that this would be a good thing to derail. And so people are attacking Avery. And let me go a little back because, so this is Orthodox Muslim. So this is Libiano. And he's a guy who, on other issues, like his friend is the one who punched Chris in the face in London. And then they'll all say, oh, we don't condone violence, but he clearly does. He tells Christians that if they, approach him like that, they'll be consciously edited out of existence. So that's just threatening people with terms that would not be normal. So you can have some plausible deniability. But on other issues, here's the Orthodox Muslim with Muhammad Hijab, on posting a video on God Logic's wife, Christina, Lady Logic, being a whore, and then making a video and cackling hilariously at that. And then, of course, after this, we've got Jay Dyer. Now, I wasn't paying attention to the back and forth because I really don't care. If people want to, if Protestants and Eastern Orthodox and Catholics want to argue about the things, that's totally fine with me. But first, they were saying that Avery basically rated Life's live stream, and then Life rated, I think, JP's live stream where he was debating Eastern Orthodoxy or something like this. So the online Orthobro community went after Avery for that as if he's going after Eastern Orthodoxy. And oddly enough, later on, they concluded no. Basically the story changed, that Avery is a grifter because he doesn't attack Christians with different beliefs and so on. So this proves that he's a grifter. But we have it here from the Orthodox Muslim. Again, this is the guy who calls Avery's wife a whore and so on. My 2 cents on what's going on with the Orthobros and Avery. Avery is not interested in your true church, as a matter of fact. he doesn't give a flying donkey's ass about any church being true. He wants to appeal to as many Christians from all denominations to make as much money as possible. This is why he's friends with Sam, yet friends with Sam's arch enemy, David Wood. He's friends with the Orthobros, but also friends with anti-Orthobros. This guy is a grifter. Wake up. And so you could, if you know Avery, you know he just doesn't like to get involved with the disputes and so on. But for Orthodox Muslim, this actually proves that he's a grifter. And then you have the response from Jay Dyer. Jay says, bingo. So he agrees with this. Doesn't mean he's agreeing with anything else Orthodox Muslim says, but he's agreeing that Avery is a grifter who doesn't spend his time attacking other Christians because he wants to make as much money as possible. So it's not because he doesn't want to get involved in the inter-Christian debates. It's not because he wants to focus on Islam or cults or anything. It's because he is a grifter. You got that from Jay Dyer. So I responded, and you have my response kind of in the middle there. I said, Muslims and Orthobros, tell me how insanely jealous you are of God logic without telling me how insanely jealous you are of God logic. And Jay replied, leftist tactics again. If I say he said something correct, then I must be in league with them, lol. If I criticize someone, it's only because I'm jealous. None of you have any actual theological arguments about the true church because you war against it. You're an evangelical, lol. And by the way, the reason I said they're insanely jealous is because they both commented on Avery's motives, right? They said, aha, he's doing this because he's a grifter. And I said, okay, so we're going to just insert people's motives here. And I said, okay, so it's because you're jealous. And then, of course, he doesn't like when someone's doing it to him. So that's Jay's response. But interestingly, the Muslims involved in the whole situation are really rooting for Jay here. So Dr. Malik says, it's about time Jay Dyer said this about logic, the grifting from him, and then Acts 17, David trying to play the race card. Pathetic. So they're saying Jay is right. And by the way, Malik here, Malik is the guy who doxed my wife earlier this year, put her phone number on Twitter, her home address on Twitter, on TikTok, and was calling on Muslims to go and deal with this problem. So he's doxed me and my family. He's doxed Avery and Christina. He calls Christina a whore as well. He tried to get the church attack that they spoke at most recently. He showed up at the church, gave the address, and said that inside are Inspiring Philosophy and God Logic, who both rip the Quran. Now, they don't. It's a lie. But he was clearly trying to get Muslims to go and attack them. But they're definitely rooting for Jay and so on, but they're also rooting for Andrew here. So same guy, Dr. Malik, the doxer. Hey, Andrew, I'm the Muslim Diddy Wood is going to use to try to burden shift off the fact he doesn't know his religion and sits with a Zio syndicate. Truth is, this rapist has been ripping Qurans for too long, and we done baked him up, and we expect you to finish the job tomorrow. So Muslim Dawa guys are rooting for you to finish off what they started. And then you got Sam jumping in here. Sam normally hates Jay, but now that Jay is coming after us, suddenly likes him. He says, damn, Jay is on fire, exposing the self-confessed sociopath and rapist who still needs to go to jail for his crim, since claiming to have become a Christian doesn't absolve him of legal responsibilities. That's Sam. And we have Daniel Hakikachu. I agree with Jay Dyer. God Logic is a grifter. In my debate with him, I asked Avery if he accepts biblical inerrancy. He refused to answer, even though the entire debate was about biblical preservation. And it's actually wasn't. It was on the Islamic dilemma. He tried to change the subject to inerrancy of the Bible instead of the Islamic dilemma. Avery didn't let him. And so now this is further evidence that Avery is just a grifter. He likes sticking to the debate topic. And finally, we have Andrew Wilson saying, I am a Jay Dyer fan, and I will debate you on these issues you have with him. I believe you mischaracterized and unjustly criticize him. I said the issue I have with him is that he's siding with Dawahgandists who are lying about God logic because he's destroying Dawa. So you agree to the topic, should Orthodox Christians support the lies of Dawahgandists who promote violence against Christians and threaten to rape women? I accept. We can debate this on my channel. Pick a day. And Andrew said, okay, let's do tomorrow. I'll even take the BS prompt just to watch you evade the actual topic. when I bring it up. So that's the background for everyone. And yeah, I have a problem with if you want to criticize God logic, that's one thing. If you are actually being cheered on by the Dawahgandists as they attack him because they want him out of the way and they want to discredit him, and you actually help them, then I think you got a problem and you need to correct it. But the Orthobros don't think there's any problem here. All right.
You all good?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know about any of this shit because I was asked to come on and debate a specific prompt. That prompt specifically has nothing to do with any of this. Nothing. The prompt is, should Orthodox Christians support the lies of Dawahganists who promote violence against Christians and threaten to rape women? That is the prompt we agreed to, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. And you're affirming that they should not, obviously, right?
I would say they should not.
Okay, great. So my position on this, since you're trying to burden shift to Jay Dyer or something, which is strange because your audience was just adamant that I would be the one who shifted the burden, yet it's you. I would say sometimes they should. And I brought 3 logical examples for the 3 times that sometimes they should. The first is a legislative example. Dearborn, Michigan's new representative, let's say Muhammad Oman, husband, brother, cousin to Ilhan Omar, has threatened to physically assault and rape Arizona's Orthodox Christian woman, Christina, who has also said he secretly loves Planned Parenthood because it kills the white Christian babies. Though his supporters don't like this, in an attempt to garner more support, he proposes the No More Abortion Bill, which unsurprisingly bans abortions nationally. This will only be able to pass due to him getting support from his wife and her getting the rest of the squad to flip, causing it to barely pass the House and likely go through the Senate. Should she support this bill and his lies to ban abortion? As an Orthodox Christian, knowing that he is a Dawanist who threatened to rape women and wants violence on Christians? Or should she go against this lie and allow millions of unborn babies to die? That's a moral conundrum, David. Should the Orthodox Christian in this scenario support that Dawanist and his lies or not? I'm just curious. Can you give me the answer, please?
We can conclude by good inference, according to you, that Jay is trying to form an alliance between Dawa guys and Eastern Orthodox to get rid of his enemies. As far as like serious, because I don't believe in that inference, not when you guys are doing it and not when I'm doing it here. Yeah, the only thing would be, again, you can deliberately try and help someone. That would be one thing. You can kind of be where you shouldn't be, but you're affirming something that they use, and it's a different kind of responsibility. You could believe Avery's a grifter and then say it, which you should be doing it with better evidence, or you could just be making it up to attack someone, or you could just be helping a random Dawa guy who's baiting you, and so you'd be kind of a gullible dope, useful idiot who did it by accident, not intentionally, in which case you should just be more careful with what you're doing when you're sending out attacks against people. So you can...
Am I closing now?
Yeah, hang on, just last sentence or two.
No problem.
So the idea is multiple possible explanations. They're all problematic. No matter what's going on, he was doing something then he shouldn't have done. But depending on what his intentions were and what he knew, it would be various levels of moral culpability. But
got it.
In any situation, it's wrong.
Yeah, so here's my closing. David Wood gave me a bullshit prompt, which I beat him on within, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes on his own prompt, which was a bait prompt, which is hilarious. From there, here's what we determined. We don't know if Jay Dyer had a set of facts about anything to do with this particular Muslim attacking Avery. We have no clue if he knew any of this. David Wood has called him a cult leader and then backtracks on that and says, no, I don't mean an actual cult. I mean, it is a different kind of cult, but then can't explain how he's not the same kind of cult leader as Jay based on the same types of posts that their various audiences make. It's fucking crazy. That's the second point. The third point is that we have more facts about what happened between the stream with Avery and why it would be that Jay would assume that you guys who won't defend any of your positions ever on anything but utilize them to bludgeon the opposition may perhaps be grifting, especially when it comes to the fact that when we take these sets of evidences for where you draw your inferences, which you don't know anything about whether or not Jay had any idea, no clue at all if Jay had any idea about these various attacks on Avery. Your whole fucking attack on him is just based on one thing, which is that he said bingo to a Muslim about him believing that Avery's a grifter, and they're now using it against you, even though by your own logic, if he had said the exact same proposition, Muslims would still be using that against you. You say both of these things are actually incorrect, but isn't it awful convenient that it leaves no pathway for which to attack you in your pro-Muslim alliance, because it'll always help Muslims if we do so? That's really weird, man. It's a very convenient set of facts for you, which seems to put you in a position where you just can't be fucking attacked ever. You can't be attacked, because if we do, it's just going to embolden the Muslims. So Jay Dyer, who's an Orthodox apologist, whose entire job is to refute all of your worldviews, if he ever agrees with anybody that you're grifting or that you're liars or that your whole worldview is false, then that's actually enabling Muslims. And so there's an Orthodox Muslim alliance. And that is actually the position. I reduced it multiple times. You were never able to defend it, ever. All you're trying to do is create a situation in which you're completely immune from criticism by then pivoting and saying this emboldens our enemies against the pro-Muslim alliance. Now, to make some caveats here and try to put out a few olive branches, right? I don't have any problem with Avery. I like the guy. I've talked with him on the phone a bunch of times, okay? Never been anything but nice to me, never been anything but kind to me, okay? I like inspiring philosophy. I like those guys, okay? I do. But when your buddy gets up at the bar, you get up with him. That's how it works. That's always how it works. And in this particular case, the most interesting part of this is that I find out that you guys actually really don't have any facts of the matter at all to make any refutations about why it is that Jay Dyer thinks you're all a bunch of grifters. You gave me a bullshit prompt and then said Jay came in to debate you about you being grifting. You wouldn't bring up theology. You gave me a bullshit prompt. Then when I beat you on the prompt, shifted right to Jay Dyer, which is fucking crazy. It's like, everything you say is circular and it refutes itself over and over and over again. When we get into inferences themselves, we do evidentiary-based inferences, find out there's more facts on my side than facts on your side. It's like, I don't even know where you go from here, because all you're stating ultimately is that any criticism, whichever comes your way, if it's agreement with a Muslim, then that is now an attack on your group. And so you're immune from criticism. Now that, my friend, is what sounds like a fucking cult. So I'll just leave it at that.